So, the law of attraction and action. Now, we've all heard about The Secret. We've all heard about What the Bleep, right? Everyone see the What the Bleep? I fell in love with What the Bleep because it talked about quantum physics and the idea that, when we study consciousness and we study meditation and we study the different layers of our reality, which is associated with brain, we talk about alpha, beta, delta, theta a lot about those levels of consciousness. But since the whole quantum physics and quantum mechanics field has come into popular knowing, we have also learned there's another layer of consciousness. Did you know that there's gamma? Gamma consciousness is way past what theta is, which is I've always called the aha state, which is what you get when you're in meditation. But when you're in really, really, really deep meditations, sort of like those monks do that they study all the time, the Dalai Lama and his monks and Thich Nhat Hanh and his monastery, when you get into that level of consciousness, you enter the quantum field, where you can begin to change your reality, where you can begin to rework those neural pathways, that the brain is actually plastic and can be remolded and healed, and you can begin to think in new directions without training the old dog, because the old dog can be trained. Our mind is constantly rebuilding and rebirthing itself. Scientific fact. Now here's another thing I found interesting. The HeartMath Institute. How many people have heard about the HeartMath Institute? The HeartMath Institute is also doing their set of experimentations and research projects. They have found that the energy in the heart is stronger than the energy of the mind. Anyone ever heard love conquers all? Yeah. Now think about this. Okay, we're into the law of attraction in action. Remember, action. You've got to take action. How many of you write affirmations? You don't have to raise your hand. I'm just asking a theoretical question. How many of you say positive affirmations? How many of you use the power of the word to declare what you want to attract to yourself? How many people use creative visualization to attract what you want to yourself? And do you have exactly what you have been working on right now in this moment? Many of us do. Many of us saying, not so much. Now, why does the law of attraction in action get stuck? Because you have to allow yourself to rebuild the pathways that have taken you to a past circumstance where you didn't have it. Because that is your reality, is you don't have it right now. That's reality. What you have to do is go back to that moment in time where you decided that you weren't going to have it. We hold all of our memory in our gut. That gut reaction to things. There's also a nerve down there called the vagus nerve. V-A-G-U-S. And of course what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And so what you have experienced in the past as not having is still there in Vegas. You have to give Vegas another happening. Okay? So that you can indeed reap the rewards of the law of attraction. Let's say the principle of attraction. The co-creative ability within each one of us to create our reality. So we go to Vegas. and we feel what it's like not to have it. And then we use the power of our mind to re-script it. It's still in Vegas. We may be thinking about it, but what I just said, the Heart Math Institute said, the heart energy is stronger than the mind. Now, you know, I'm always talking about the power of the mind, power of the mind, power of the mind. Let's think about the power of manifestation. We're in Vegas. We're re-scripting it. It's in the gut. We feel it. Also, remember, this is your psychic center. So whatever you are creating and feeling in your gut, now you're going to bring it up and love it. Mm-hmm. Love it. Look at the pathway we're doing here. We're creating a new neuro pathway. Love it. Feel it. Unconditional love. You are deserving of it. Then you bring it up to the next center, which is the throat. The power of the word. You declare it. You own it. This is mine or better, because I know the universe has bigger plans than I can possibly imagine. Meanwhile, Vegas is starting to break up here. Vegas is going, gotta let go, gotta let go, gotta let go. And it keeps trying to hold on because it knows what it doesn't have. It doesn't know what it does, it's going to have. And there's a little bit of fear that happens. This is where you take the power of the heart and you connect it with the mind. Think it in the heart. You see where this is going? Yes. Have we heard this before? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Master Jesus and so many other teachers before and after have said to us, think it in the heart. Now this is making sense. We've got scientific proof that the heart, if we bring the energy of the mind and we connect the heart and the mind, it works. Now I'm going to give you one last thing that I added to this. Then you take it from here and you put it into your soul star. Okay. So that your higher self, your God self, your co-creative divine spark says, yes, I can do this. Boom! And it begins to send out that energy. Doesn't this make sense?
Yes. Olay.
Where's Miss Veronica? Olay. This is big stuff, folks. Because now you have the scientific. So you've got the practicality, the science behind the law of attraction and action. What keeps us from realizing it? F-E-A-R. False evidence appearing real. Or what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. False evidence appearing real. What would your life be like if you really had what you wanted? Do you deserve it?
Yes.
Yes. Can you handle it? You bet. Bring it on. The law of attraction in action. Do not let yourself say anything negative. Eeyore. Because you are then declaring it as truth. And Vegas can stay right where it wants to stay. I'm safe. I don't have to change. Oh, good. I know this feeling. I know what this feeling feels like. I can imagine what the other feeling feels like, but I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling my stasis. Become a quantum creator. But see, it takes all of those pieces. Got a little pot here. We got a little, what's it called? Which is? Cauldron. Okay, we've got a cauldron here. All right, think about this for a minute. We're creating a magical brew of attraction. Magic. Put a little bit of the Vegas in there, put a little bit of the heart in there, put a little of the power of the word in there, and then we stir it with the light of the soul. Now, you let it go.
Don't hold on to it. Don't keep it boiling in that cauldron. You got to drink it, or put it on, or spread it around, or whatever you're going to do with that spell that you're doing. You cannot hold on to it. We've been talking a lot about tithing. What does that mean? You tithe to yourself too, you know. I put 10% of everything I get into my savings account. 10% of every, I don't subtract 10% and then give 10% back to my spiritual nourishment. I take 10% off the top. So if I made $1,000 in a week, 10% goes into savings, and the equal 10% goes into my spiritual work. Remember, tithing is always off the top. But time, talent, treasure. See, when you go through your life with open palm, there's a giving and a receiving here. And that's what manifesting is all about. The energy has to keep flowing. The law of attraction actually means that. Otherwise, you stay in fear and holding, and you get constipated. Uh-oh. But you get blocked up in your spiritual abundance. And this is what we want to remember. And again, think about where the vagus nerve is. It's that lower chakra area. Okay? So remember that whenever you get into the old habit of saying, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. Really? YouTube. Look on YouTube. Google it. Really? You know? Do you know this is kind of sick? I'm going to tell you something. A lot of times in the middle of the night, I keep my iPhone by the bed. I actually will wake up in a dream or something, and I'll Google it and see what it means, or I'll Google it. And it's really interesting because Google is our friend. But sometimes we can go into information overload. Remember, you don't want to just stay here. It's always this exchange, heart and mind, heart and mind, heart and mind. How do you love yourself unconditionally? That's a tough thing to do. Because how can we expect other people to love us unconditionally if we put conditions on our love for ourselves? Why do we do that? Old programs of not being lovable, of not being acceptable, of not being right, of not being perfect, of not being whatever, the list is long. Go back into Vegas. Give it another happening. Give it another experience. I've talked about that wonderful thing that we do at night called nightly review. This is a perfect opportunity of getting into a meditative state, getting into the state of being the watcher. You are the watcher. Your higher self isn't emotional. Your personality self is emotional. Your lower self is swayed by emotion. You know, I'll say, it took me 2 days to get off of that phone call with somebody. Well, no it didn't. You allowed your emotions to take charge. Instead of bringing it up and loving that person where they were when you were speaking to them, and not taking it personally, but of course I'm the queen, so I take everything personally. It's all about me. And it's all about you. We all have that. It's all about us. And we're right. It is. But because it is about us needs to bring it to a higher level of consciousness. And so we go back to that conversation and we get to the feeling it gave us. How were we feeling? Because that becomes our reality. Then you bring it up and you love it. Then you recreate it. You re-script it. You become the writer, the producer, the camera person, and the actor. And you re-script it. And then you love it again. And then you release it and let it go and say, this or something greater, for my best and highest good and all concerned, this is my reality that I declare, that I claim, that I will have. The law of attraction and action. You gotta take the action. I'm not gonna lose that 50 pounds if I just sign up at the Y. I gotta go. It's the same thing with manifesting anything. You have got to do it. Action. Remember, action. And so, what does that do for us? It's the idea of we must take responsibility. We can't be victims here. There are no victims here. You are in charge. Nobody does it to you. It may feel like it sometimes. You may feel like you're out of control. You may feel like the universe is doing it to you. But it's not, is it? Who's doing it? You are.
Me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I. So when we look at spiritual law, we also see that we're all, sometimes we don't get what it is we're asking for. Why is that? We just talked about why, the blocking, but what's another reason? We may not need it for our soul's growth. And the universe knows better than we do. Sorry, but it does. Reminds me of that Far Side cartoon where this man is walking with God in the garden. He's listening to God. And he goes, No, you change. Doesn't work that way. You change. Then your God self can allow you to flow with it, not against it. And you never know when you're going to manifest what you desire. There is no time. Remember, that's an illusion. It could be tomorrow. It could be next year or your next lifetime. We never know. That's why not one day that you are still in incarnation is ever wasted. Because you never know what part of the continuum you are creating. We came in with a plan and a purpose. We don't always get, sometimes, I think a lot of us were very, very over-eager this lifetime. We came in as a long list. I can do it, I can do it. Oh yeah, no problem, I can do it. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. The changes happen so fast. Right? So overwhelming. This job is taken away, this person is taken away, the situation is taken away. It's like, oh, and then I need car trouble on the top of that. What? The dump truck backed up to my house with that stuff in it and just kind of pile it on, and I don't like the smell of it. Take it away. And so, why does that happen? Because we're getting ready for one whopping big spurt of spiritual growth. We're just cleaning the decks. We're wiping the slate clean, and we are getting ready for something wonderful to happen. Do you feel that way when all that stuff is happening to you? No. Why me, God? Why is it happening to me? It always happens to me. I never get this, I never do that, I never blah, blah, blah. Okay, then the universe says, yes, my child. You never will. You know, it's so easy and so hard because we keep getting swayed like with the wind. Someone looks at you the wrong way, my feelings are hurt. Someone doesn't do something you want, they don't like me anymore. It goes through life, instead of saying, they didn't see me because they were thinking about something themselves. why do we never put ourselves in the other person's shoes before we get our feelings hurt? I know, except for me, because I wake up every morning and say, I'm going to deliberately go out and hurt this person. I'm going to deliberately go out and cut that person off on the freeway. I'm going to deliberately, no, sorry, I'm not a Sith. Anybody know Star Wars? Sometimes I want to be a Sith. I want to kill things with my lightsaber. When I have those feelings, I go online and play the game. So you need to allow yourself to know that as long as you're in human form, you're going to be pulled off like that. And you have to say, child, I love you. Come on back to center. Remember that soul-infused personality that I talk about? What does that mean? You act as the soul. So then that emotional part of you, that lower self, that personality self, becomes the child that you are raising up. I am both will and fixed design. My will is now to lift the lower self into the light divine. That light am I. That is your declaration of you are the soul. And you use your visualization, you use your power of feeling and affirmation, and you start to make yourself that Star of David. The up-pointed pyramid reaching up. The lower pointed pyramid pulling up. Boom, you are the Star of David. The soul-infused personality. It's a great symbol to meditate on. Knowing that it's spirit and matter, boom, combined. The lower self, matter. The higher self, spirit, boom. You become one. There are so many beautiful symbologies that have been lost through misuse or misinterpretation over the eons of time. And the Star of David is one of them. Because it is an esoteric Christianity symbol that's very, very powerful to meditate on. And so we look at the ideas that we are the power. We are the will. We are the light. We are all of those things and more in matter, which means we have taken physical form, but it is not who we totally are. Who are we? Ye are gods. That's somewhere in a book, too. Ye are gods. What do you feel when I say that? What do you feel? Do you feel, yes, I am, I can do it? Or do you feel, oh, I'm going to get hit by lightning if I say that? Get it out of Vegas. See, that's old programming. That's that I'm not good enough programming. For me as a Catholic, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I thought too big for my britches. Little girl should be seen and not heard. Don't be so dramatic. Old programming. I come every Sunday and I do exactly the opposite. Because you claim your power. Every part of you that has those tendencies is your power, is your talent, is your God-given right. And so it is.